If you haven't heard, there's been a massive layoff at Watcher, which is this pretty popular YouTube brand with nearly 3 million subscribers. And they basically ended up laying off their entire production and creative teams, which kind of leaves them with next to nobody. But I wanted to go into what happened here and how can different creators understand how to structure their teams when you feel like you're growing really fast. Just to give you a backstory, Ryan and Shane, who are the main creators of Watcher, first started at BuzzFeed, and they basically created a show called Unsolved, which is around like going into different haunted houses and museums. And from there, it blew up, and they ended up starting Watcher in 2020, and then ended up leaving in 2021 to basically go on this venture on their own. They also partnered with Stephen Lim, who kind of funded the project, and he was actually a part of another show for BuzzFeed called Worth It. Now, Watcher kind of went into it on their own with this high production show that explores paranormal and around crime, and so at their peak, they had around, what fans say, around 25 people on staff, which is quite a bit for a YouTube channel with only barely 3 million subscribers. Now, in comparison, you can compare this to Cleo Abrams, who is a video journalist on YouTube. She came from Vox, but she launched her channel recently in like the last 3 years, and she was able to grow to 2.3 million. There's the thumbnail. She was able to grow to 2.3 million subs in 1 year, and this is actually from the Samir and Colin, or the Colin and Samir podcast, and it's actually a really great episode if you want to go back and listen to it. But she grew pretty quickly, but she also talks about how her staff is just only 4 people, and then maybe here and there she contracts some people. So if you're comparing that to Ryan and Shane, 25 people is a lot of people when you barely have 3 million subscribers. So you can see how a lot of the overhead gets really expensive. This is where I think a lot of YouTube-based creators get into a little bit of trouble because they end up scaling like a media company. Like these guys came from BuzzFeed, and they really need to scale like a creator. So on top of this, it is really hard to sell crime and paranormal content to clients, and that's basically what a lot of their content was. Like a lot of crime content on YouTube gets flagged, and then that basically impacts their ad revenue because a lot of the CPM rates end up dropping because, again, advertisers don't want to run ads against murder or ghosts and things like that. These guys also ended up doing like a subscription model, which I think is like $5.99 for like per month for a subscriber. But a lot of this turned into backlash just because fans weren't really excited about some of the free content that were previously free was now behind a paywall. So the audience was getting kind of annoyed about this too. At that point, the Watcher team, Ryan and Shane, apologized and they adjusted their release strategy, but like the damage kind of was already done. I think the biggest takeaway here is small. Try to be as small as you can and save on costs as much as you can, because unless you're Mr. Beast, who has like 200 some people on staff, but his videos are insane and he has like